Okay, what's up, everybody? This is the podcast called Couple Things.
With Shawn and Andrew.
It's a podcast all about couples and the things they go through. First off, we have to address that it's not two couples at the moment, so you have to fill your shoes for you and Megan.
It'll be tough.
Yes.
Tough shoes.
But I just told Sue I feel somewhat creepy because I've read every article ever written about you and that you've written yourself in the past 48 hours. I feel like I'm your new biggest fan. So it's really cool that you're here. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes.
For those of you in the audience wondering, okay, this show that Shawn and I have is kind of relationship focused. What are we doing at the MIT Sports Analytics Conference? So I actually did some research, and there's actually some pretty interesting data regarding professional athletes and their partners. And so I don't know if you know this, but there's been a study done that professional basketball players that date significant others who are also big time have a 24% improvement in performance.
No wonder.
So I put this to the test, and I looked up Sue Bird's stats from 2016 and 2017.
Because you met Megan in 2016.
Yes.
Yeah, but like right after that WNBA
Don't ruin
season.
this
I'm
for
not
me.
sorry. I met her in 2016.
Don't-
You're absolutely right.
So-
My bad.
Fun fact, based off what I was able to glean, your steals increased by 20% and your assists increased by 15%. So you're right there.
Yeah,
right,
it makes sense.
Because it's all the significant other.
My husband's the nerd. And it's also, we were joking, this is somewhat different because we usually don't do these live. It's usually like sitting on couches, sipping wine, just having a conversation. So, welcome to our living room, everyone.
To be honest with you, I feel a little, I'm humbled sitting up here with two great women. And I think my role today will just be as an admirer of you both. I am really excited. Shawn and I just had a daughter 4 months ago, and I really just want to listen in on this. Thank you.
Yeah,
We're
congrats.
still here. We're still
I told him he
kicking.
needs to come learn from you guys because you're one of the most like beast women I've ever met and read about because I feel like I know you. This is creepy. Sounding creepy. To give a little bit of background though, first pick overall in 2002. Mm-hmm. This is where I give you stats that I think are correct and you're going to tell me are wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. This is Wikipedia for you. Olympic gold medalist, 04, 8, 12, 16.
Yes.
Going for 20?
Hopefully.
Yes.
Yes.
World championship, WNBA championship, WNBA's top 15 players of all time. It goes on.
It's a long list. It's a long
Top
list.
20 at 20, NCAA. There's a million. I was literally reading off everything. I was like, holy crap. I'm intimidated. I literally just started sweating because I have one medal. You have a million. And your girlfriend, Megan Rapinoe. Mm-hmm. I feel like everyone says it
Rapinoe.
different.
I know. A lot of people go
Okay.
Rapinoe. It's like,
Yes.
no. Yeah, it's
Megan
Rapinoe.
Rapinoe
Yeah.
is also a beast.
Mm-hmm.
Soccer player. What was the one that I found that I was like, okay, FIFA's best women's player in the world.
Yep, last year.
I mean,
Or I guess this year.
between the two of you, are you just going to take on the world? Take over the world?
I always joke that her one gold medal is really cute.
That's really good. If you ever say that to me, I'll hurt you.
That's
Okay? Yeah.
No, but she this summer for her was probably will go down as like one of the more, for a lot of reasons obviously, but just from a soccer standpoint, will probably go down as like one of the more epic that a player has had.
So last night, Andrew and I were briefing a few different interviews that we had today, and I was reading all of your articles, and we kind of finished briefing, and we're like, okay, now give us each the rundown. So I was giving him the rundown. I was like, okay, Sue and Megan are amazing, because I don't think I read a single article where either of you didn't just rave about each other. And it was amazing. I literally told Andrew, I was like, they love each other more than anything in the world. I was like, they're the biggest supporters of each other. They love each other. They're both super successful. It's just the coolest relationship what you guys have. And one of the first things Andrew and I were talking about is with our relationship, I competed, I retired, I met my husband, and then he started competing. And it was easy for me to support him in his sport because I was done and I could be the cheerleader.
Right.
But with you two, you're still competing. Mm-hmm. How did we phrase it last night? Like how do you invest enough into each other to support each other, but also keep enough to invest within your sports?
Yeah, it's been pretty easy, to be honest. I think we've actually been able to find naturally, like not on purpose, it totally just happened by itself, this like really kind of interesting balance of there's going to be days where I feel like crap, right? I don't want to work out, I'm tired, or something hurts, or I'm just not feeling it, I'm not motivated. And she's right there to be like, nope, let's go. And then as it happens, like she has those days. And I happen to be the one that day to be like, nope, let's go. Luckily, we don't feel like crap on the same day usually. We take turns. So it's been nice to have somebody who can be there to, you know, encourage, motivate, all that stuff, but also really and truly understands what you're going through. That is the key. Like really and truly understand it. Like experience it, live it. So it's good for both of us.
Another aspect of that, though, is beyond the physical fatigue that we feel as athletes, the ambition that and like the constant sacrifice that you're making of turning down doing this event that you want to, or skiing because you don't want to injure yourself. Like there's so much that comes to being a professional athlete, and I'm very fortunate that Shawn and I were not pursuing our professional careers concurrently, just because when Shawn and I were married and I was doing the NFL, she had to sacrifice so much so that I could pursue my dream. I wonder how you guys balance that out beyond just the physical aspect of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard,
Yeah.
you know? I think, again, like we're very lucky in a way because some of this just naturally happened. Like it's a fit, you know? And I can't really explain why. It's not like something we talked about. It just fits. And with that, the hardest part is being away, 100%. Like currently, I mean, listen, Megan like blew up this summer, so it has taken a turn in the last like 6-7 months. And she's insanely busy. I'm like busy. She's like insanely busy. And the hard part is we don't see each other. And so, you know, you have to find ways to stay connected. That can be really difficult. It definitely has been the more challenging part of our relationship in the like 3.5 years we've been together. But again, it fits, and I think we both understand. And we talk a lot about like choices, right? Like at some point, there's things, or at points, different points, there's things you can't say no to, right? Like if company X says this or offers you that, or you have to fly here, some things you can't say no to. But then hopefully you get to a point where you can start making those choices. And we talk a lot about, you know, prioritizing and when to make, you know, the yes choice, when to make the no choice.
Yeah. This is a fun thing we share in common. We both met our significant others because of the Olympics.
Okay.
So this is fun. Can you tell the story of how you met Megan?
Yeah. Basically, it's actually a shocker that we hadn't met prior to 2016. Megan plays for the Seattle Reign, which is in the NWSL. I play for the Storm, Seattle Storm, in the WNBA. So our seasons are the same time. We've been in the same city for like 5, 6, 7 years or something like that. And we have the same agent. We're in the same agency.
And you hadn't met, okay.
I know. It's like, it's wild. And then so we had kind of like, hey, what's up type of a intro leading to the Olympics. Let's call it like 6-7 months beforehand. And then at the Olympics, sadly, her team had lost. So at the end, she was just kind of bopping around Rio, like living this life.
Bopping around.
Bopping around. She was like partying, doing all the things that, because we were still playing, we didn't get to do. So then I ran into her a couple times. She came to some of our games. Again, because we have the same agency, there was like one person who was a little bit of a connector that was bringing her to, and then she came to the after party. And we were like, and I'll be completely honest, she was engaged at the time.
Okay.
I know. I'm only talking about this part. But we're like, oh my God, why are we not friends? This is ridiculous. Like all of us, like our team, my team, your team, like we live in Seattle, we play in Seattle. What are we doing? And then from that point until we actually started dating, obviously a lot happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, we came back to Seattle, started hanging out, started talking more, and then at some point started dating.
Amazing. I met I tried to make the 2012 Olympics, retired, didn't have it. Ran into his brother, who was a USA cyclist, and he just wouldn't shut up about his younger brother. He's like, you have to meet my younger brother. And I was like, okay, this is weird. He wasn't even in London. You weren't even in London. And your brother was like, he's back home. You have to come meet him.
I don't know if
That's
you
really
experienced
weird.
any of this, but Shawn stood me up for 9 months, and I did.
You hung
She
on.
made me work for 9 months. But
Good
I
job,
did it.
Shawn.
That's perseverance.
Sounds like Megan didn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah. It worked out.
This
It
is
worked
great.
out.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. I had another. Okay, back to the relationship dynamic because I think it's really interesting. You guys travel. You're pretty much within long distance right now.
Yeah.
Are there any, or have there been any big moments, whether it's like World Cup or games where you guys aren't there?
Yeah. A lot of them.
How do you do that?
It's tough. Because I think it's human nature to have your feelings hurt a little bit. Not. It's not on purpose.
Yeah.
But you're kind of just like, oh, like I wish they could
Because
have
you
been
want them there.
Yeah. So I was really lucky in that I got to go to her World Cup final. I literally flew in the day
Amazing.
before game, flew out the next morning. It was like in and out because my season was still going.
Weren't you on a plane watching the semifinal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, creepy. I know your life.
It might have been the quarters or the semis. I can't remember. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like, I'm a loyal Delta flyer, so I can say this, but sometimes that live TV is not really,
yeah.
working for you.
No,
So I was like, it was very stressful for a lot of reasons. But yeah, I was on a plane watching that. So I got to experience that. And she's definitely witnessed, some big moments for me too. Actually, I'll give her credit for this. When we first started dating, I'm talking like a month in. There was, I think you said it on that list. There was like the WNBA did a top
On
20.
the list. Yeah. Literally the list of credentials.
Somewhere in all my accolades,
all there, yeah.
this was.
The WNBA did a top 20 at 20 years. And I
Okay.
got selected to that. And so they were flying us all in to this, one game. It was during the WNBA finals. And again, we were a month in, and Megan was like, it was like the night before, no joke. And she was like, I want to go to this. And I was like, are you sure? Like, we hadn't like come out.
Yeah.
Well, I hadn't actually come out, and our relationship hadn't come out either. So I was like, oh, are you sure? And she was like, yeah, I've already missed so many moments in your life, and who knows if I'll be available for other stuff, so I don't want to miss something I can go to. And I was like, oh, that's very sweet.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so she was there for that. But then yeah, everything from championships to surgeries to holidays, sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Again, it wouldn't work out though if you guys weren't both professional athletes who understood why
yeah.
you have to sacrifice those moments.
Totally.
And then, okay, another question because husband plays football. I don't know anything about football. I know a lot about long snapping. But do you know all the rules of soccer?
All the rules? Yeah, I played soccer growing up.
Okay.
So I have like the basics.
Does she know everything about basketball?
Yeah, she's like diehard basketball
Okay.
fan. Was before she even met me. She's like into it, hardcore.
I should learn.
She has like
You know
opinions.
much
and
about
stuff.
basketball. There's not a lot of rules though. Like
Me?
I feel
You're asking a gymnast.
one term that you've used previously is, or it's a phrase, modified democracy, and that really resonated with me. Where you were talking about Megan.
The
Megan's
pink hair.
her decision on her hair color.
Yeah.
And she wanted this color, you wanted this color, she chose this color, and that's the compromise of relationship. But I wonder if there's any other situations that's happened in.
With Megan, like all of them. She's it's funny because, and I mentioned this in the article, but like I'm very much like I live in my little comfort zone, and her comfort zone's all over the place. Like she's comfortable everywhere, wearing everything, trying new things, whatever it is. So, I mean, I could literally give you 1,000 examples. Obviously, her clothes is a big one. She'll like put on some like
She has her own clothing
spaceship-
company.
Now she does, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, Ree. But she'll put on some like something that looks like a space suit, something, and I'll be like, "Are you sure?" She'll be like, "Yeah, it's fly. I'm wearing it." I'm like, "All right." And then lo and behold, it just goes to show you when you're confident in something, it really doesn't matter what you're wearing. But the hair is another example. Those are the two that jump out because they're kind of the everydays. I'll try to think of some other ones.
I don't know if I can thank you for the modified democracy article because hair is a big point of contention within our relationship. I like the hair short. He likes it long. He read modified democracy and he's
Now
gonna
he's using it.
live by that. He's gonna be
My
like,
bad.
Megan got to keep her pink hair.
I mean, it worked for her though.
As you push it back. Yeah, okay.
As you push it
Okay.
It's really inspiring to read your interviews and listen to the different spots that you guys do, because it seems like you're truly each other's ultimate hype man. And I just think that's so valuable because as an athlete, it's so exhausting when you have such high expectations of yourself. Your coaches have high expectations. To come back and have this relaxation zone or the recharge zone. Do you guys have any daily disciplines or like things that you do to maintain that space of it being like this is home and this is where we are able to recharge?
Well, when we're together at home, I mean, we're very chill.
Yeah.
I think obviously the hard part is when we're away. And I don't know if this exactly answers your question, but something we tried to do like a year ago. It didn't last, so I'm not going to lie about this, but we did it for a pretty decent amount of time. In order to keep what you're talking about while we were away, we had this journal. And so one of us would take it with wherever they were going and then like kind of write little entries to the other. Because I'm sure, as you guys know, like when you travel, you're apart, there's these like little day-to-day things that when you talk at the end of the day, you might just forget to mention, or it'll be a week later and be like, oh yeah, remember when like Joe Schmo said this to me? And you're like, no, you never told me that. And it's not on purpose. It just, life happens. So we had this journal where you'd kind of like write down whether it was something small or if you wanted to be a little more gushy, you could, whatever the case was, however you're feeling that day. And you'd kind of keep it, write however much you wanted. And then when we saw each other, you'd pass it. And then when we left again, the other person would take it.
I really like that.
Yeah. Like I said, I wish it could have lasted forever. I know where it is, but we haven't done it we should probably still do it.
You should do that again.
Yeah, no, it was fun.
We should do that. Will you do that?
What?
Let's do that.
He said, what?
That's cool.
I like the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kept us connected even when we were apart. So it was nice.
Do you ever find within your relationship, both of you being so competitive and just that dynamic of being competitors still and trying to encourage each other, even on hard days where you don't want to go into practice, do you ever find it hard within the dynamic to turn it off, to turn off the competitiveness, to turn off wanting to push each other towards your ambition? Do you ever find it hard to just be normal, be
Not
chill?
really. Yeah, I think the times that we are just like at home hanging out or we go out with friends, it's very easy to turn off. I think we're looking forward to turning it off, to be honest. So it's really easy just to like kick it. Or like I said, we love to go out to dinner, even there might be time, let's say we're away from each other for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, and the first night we'll be like, well, what are our friends doing? Because we like the social part. That helps us kind of like ease back in and turn, as you're talking about, turning it off. But no, I don't think we find it hard at all.
Of all the things that you've done, Shawn listed some of the awards that you've won, but even outside of that, maybe it's some service activity or what have you. What is the thing that you're most proud of?
Ooh. It's like picking your favorite kid. I think right now, like where I sit right now, 39, I'll be 40 in October. So, I'm at the end. And looking back, I think it's pretty cool that for the WNBA titles that I've won, this actually kind of goes for the Olympics as well, but the Olympics is a little bit different. It's not like a season and you're grinding it through. Your rosters are always usually the best players. In the WNBA, it's different. And so the fact that I've been on teams, so we won in 2004, then again in 2010, and then again in 2018. I think I'm really proud that I was able to win in like 3 different kind of like eras of my career. Like it wasn't, sometimes you might see a team win like 2 out of 4 years because they had a really good roster. Like we were able to kind of recreate like this winning thing 3 different times. And I'm like the standalone in all 3. There's some that went from 1 to 2. Definitely the only one in the last one because I'm old as hell and they're all young as hell. But it's pretty cool, I think, looking back that and you actually said, even though this is on the court, it's still off the court because this last team, which we won in 2018, those are all young players, and I know I'm able to have like such a big impact on who they are as professionals, how they carry themselves, how they kind of like take the legacy of the franchise, along once I'm gone.
Okay, I found this quote in an article, and I just want to read it because it literally gave me goosebumps. It was about the World Cup with Megan. I'm going to read the whole thing, which is a little long, so bear with me. But you said, watching Megan win, that it was like the entire country all at once said soccer, yes. Women's soccer, yes. An openly gay superstar swagging out with 2 goals. She's crazy celebrations leading up to a huge win in women's soccer, yes. It literally gave me goosebumps because these massive events, whether it's the Olympics, championships, world championships, World Cups, give the world a glimpse into some of the biggest inequalities in the world, but also give glimpses into a world that is so unified that nothing else matters. And I thought it was one of the, I literally said, babe, read this, read this, read this. I literally thought it was one of the most beautiful quotes ever, because I remember being at the Olympics and feeling like nothing else in the world mattered. Can you just recreate that moment and talk about that moment? Because it truly, I think, should be put on banners everywhere.
Well, yeah, I totally agree. It's like sports, we don't, right? When you're on a team or whatever the case, you don't care about race, religion. So you're like, can you get me 20 and 10? Like, like, can you rebound for me? Like, that's all you see. That's all you care about. Nothing else matters. And in some ways, I feel like sports gets it right so many times. And when people are watching sports, those things seem to go away as well. And I think that's what that quote really represents, is here she was, this woman who obviously is very vocal, obviously very passionate, was able to kind of like bring together this entire, our entire country in this way. And it all had to do with her play. Yes, of course, again, she's very vocal in a lot of ways, so it had to do with that as well. But it was just really cool. And I think she actually has one of my favorite quotes, and I'm not going to get it right off the cuff. I'd have to Google it. But she basically, somebody says something about, gay athletes and whatnot. And she was like, well, I don't know a team that's ever won without a gay athlete. So, and you're kind of like, yeah, you're probably right. Whether you knew it or not, you're probably right. So, it was just like, for her, it was everything coming to a head, like everything she believes in, on the field, off the field. And to me, it was being able to perform under that pressure. Like, she had the president tweet at her. I mean, literally like days before the World Cup, or during the World Cup, I think. And she was like, yeah, and we're still going to win. And as an athlete, a lot of people hedge the other way. Be like, oh yeah, well, our team's okay this year. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile, they're like the front runner, but they kind of take that pressure away. She took all of it on and still was able to perform.
And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to read the quote, because I feel like when I was reading all of these articles, there's so much attention brought to, things outside of your guys' just talent that are unnecessary.
Yeah.
How does that affect your guys' relationship and going about your career as some of the most talented female sports, or not even female sports, as just athletes in general in the world, having attention brought to things that aren't just your talent?
So it's kind of twofold. It's like, in one sense, it's easy to kind of say like, oh, they don't do that to male athletes. They just focus on their play or whatever. So in some ways it feels unfair that you have to be, you have to like represent so much more than just what your play is in order to like get attention or whatever. Then simultaneously, it's like, well, there's a lot going on in the world that, both Megan and I feel strongly about, would like to see change, and we have this platform. So in some ways, it's like, well, we want to take advantage of it and use it, be careful with it, like, tender with it, I guess, but also take advantage of it. So that part can be tough to juggle it. I think for the two of us, though, to be honest, the only time we've ever really had like any kind of tough conversation was after the president tweeted at Megan. I was kind of like, you might want to be careful. Like, there's some people in the world, you don't know what they would do. Like, and I was thinking about, selfishly myself, but like her family, like people who are associated friends. She was like, oh, no, they have a lot of security here. It'll be fine. I'm like, not you. I know you're fine. Like, your whole team has security.
Yeah.
But what about everybody else? That was like literally the only time we ever talked about anything. Otherwise, it's like, nah, go for it. If you believe in it, go for it.
I love that. And then, sorry, you can chime in anytime, but I'm going to keep going. Okay.
I'm just up here.
I don't know if you mind talking about this. It was in an article, so hopefully you are okay.
At this point, I'm like, whatever.
I'd say kids.
Yeah.
You did an article about freezing your eggs.
Oh, yeah.
And which I think is an incredible thing. And you said you wanted to bring more attention to it to normalize the options that women have, because, even me having us having a 4-month-old, the concept to people that I'm traveling right now and working, people are like, how could you ever do that?
Yeah.
But with you and Megan, are you wanting kids? Are you thinking about kids?
We want the option.
Okay.
That's kind of, it is hard to, when you're still playing, even though I know, like, this could, I'm not saying this, but this could easily be my last year. Like, I'm knocking on the door. I know it's close to the end. But even still, while you're playing, it's hard to understand,
absolutely.
like, picture what that would even look like. So having the option.
And
was the best option.
I ask because no pressure to have kids or not, but I'm curious because of, again, just the attention you and Megan grabbed from the world, which I think is an amazing thing. If you were to have kids and you had a daughter,
Right.
what are some of which I'm probably selfishly asking, what are some of the most, the greatest lessons you've learned in the past few years that you would try to teach?
I think what I've learned is, and I think I've learned this throughout my life, but then the past few years have really hammered it home. You really have to be yourself, and it's not easy. It's like, so, you just be yourself, and it's not that easy. But you really have to, I think, encourage kids to be curious, use their imagination in their own way, and not like push them in any kind of way, because whatever is genuine, right? That's what people, I feel like that's when people can feel confident. That's when people can go out in the world and do great things. And that's when other people respond to people. I think I'm going to make like a really weird analogy, but it's kind of like on my basketball team, I'm one of the leaders. And I just feel like when you're in that position, if there's like any, like, can I curse on this?
Yeah.
Okay. If there's any like bullshit about you, like people smell that. And they're kind of put off by it. You know, people want to be around, like, even if you're a dork, be a dork. This is actually something my good friend Diana Taurasi says. It's like, if you're a nerd, be a nerd. If you be what you are. And you know, if you're, I don't know, like whatever type of person you are, if you're that, just be that. And so many doors open for you when you're just true to yourself. So I think that's what I would want our future daughter to be able to have and grasp. And again, like, so much easier said than done. Like, it's taken a long time to get here.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, this is humbling for me to be up here, just as you were talking about freezing your eggs. Never once in my career did I have to plan out,
Yeah, I bet.
you know, child rearing. So just, again, I think it's a testament to you for the sacrifices that you made in your career. I do want to retouch on something you said earlier. You said you're approaching 40,
Yeah.
nearing the end. It sounds morbid, but
I know.
I'm assuming you meant of the basketball career.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what you want your legacy to be.
So I think for a really long time, and this is still true, I just wanted to be a winner. I feel like that was the one thing you can't argue. And I'm sure, you know, you guys know, it's like you can argue stats, or you can argue, you know, these other kind of, I guess they are tangible things, but you can argue who was the better point guard, or who was the better this, or who's the better shooter. You can't argue championships. Like, they are what they are. You have them or you don't. So I always felt like that's where, I don't know, from even at a very young age, I always just wanted to win and be a winner. And then as I got older, I realized, like, oh, this could be really a part of, you know, what I leave. That and being a really good teammate. And by good teammate, there are aspects of it where I want to, like, you know, I want to be someone that my teammates like to hang out with, or that kind of thing. But it's really about helping people raise their level of play. Like, that's the kind of good teammate that I've always strived to be. But recently, and it's obviously sad because I'm about to bring up Kobe Bryant, but it's actually a quote that I heard from him prior to his passing. But when he did pass away, a lot of it was kind of, you know, a lot of his quotes and videos and interviews were resurfacing. And there was one that, again, I'd definitely taken note of. And he kind of basically talks about, you know, your legacy is kind of like, it has nothing to do with, there's going to be another MVP. Mm-hmm. There's going to be another great point guard. You know, it's about all these other ways that you can kind of leave your fingerprints on things. So I've, in my last couple years, like I said, with that 2018 championship team, I tried to, yes, win and have my kind of fingerprints on that team from a playing standpoint, but also in this other way. And that's, now it's kind of shifting even more towards that as I approach 40. Thank you for bringing that up again. I want to have my fingerprints like all over the Storm franchise in ways that will be there when I'm done.
That's amazing. Okay, one last question.
Okay.
Basketball or soccer for a kid? Which one would you guys go with?
Man, this is going to be such a cop-out. I can honestly say both, because I think, so I played soccer growing up as well, like very competitively. And I think it really helped me in my basketball career. Okay. And I think there's aspects, I don't know if it goes quite this. I don't know if basketball helps soccer as much, but soccer really helped me in basketball, like for real, for real. So I'm cool with both. And then, yay, they got to be themselves and pick what they want, right?
I sucked at both.
You sucked at both.
Both. I played soccer until we got on the big field, and then I quit.
Big field?
Yeah.
There's a little field?
That
When you're a
shows
little
you
kid?
how little I was.
Yeah, you're little.
As soon as I started having to like run the long distance, I was like, I'm out. You run 70
No,
feet
yeah,
down a
they
ball
run a
runway.
ton.
Yeah.
They run too much.
And then basketball, I'm vertically challenged.
What do you have going on right now or looking forward to next that you're most excited about?
So the WNBA, we just did a new collective bargaining agreement, which was like, yeah, thank you. Thanks, guys. Which in some ways was groundbreaking for us. And I was on the executive committee for that. And it really marks, in my mind, the start of a new WNBA, which hopefully could help it explode. And it was really about kind of just restructuring and building a foundation that could help the league grow. And very excited about that. It's like still being implemented, and you're kind of seeing like free agency has been wild this year in the WNBA, which is great. And you're still kind of see it go. But even now, like in my notes in my iPhone, I'm like, listen, I know I will not be around for the next CBA. I can say that with 100% confidence, but I'm like taking notes. I'm like, next CBA, this needs to be in it. That needs to be in it. I'm like very driven by that. So that's really exciting. And then, I mean, honestly, I'm just like so focused on the Olympics. Hopefully we have it, but I'm like so focused on the Olympics. I don't really have space for much else. Like this is the one thing where it's like, this won't be here next year. This is really like the only time I have. So everything else will be here next year.
What do you view as the biggest hurdles to the growth of the WNBA?
There's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things. I think it's a lot of things. I think very quickly, I would say our media coverage, our corporate sponsorship, like investment, has been poor, to say the least. I think those are two big areas that we need to have improve and increase. I mean, I think playing in the summer hurts us, and I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. But the good news is the product is like it gets better every year. There's 12 teams, 12 roster spots. It's like literally survival of the fittest. Every draft class that comes in, survive. It's like you have to fight and claw just to make a team. So that means the basketball is going to be great. So that's what we're hanging our hat on, and we'll see what happens.
It is so interesting. You said in a previous interview, you turn on ESPN top 10 plays of the day, and you might be lucky enough to see one WNBA.
Oh, if there's a fight, you'll see it.
Yeah.
You won't see like a really nice play though.
But the NFL and the NBA, and yes, they're great sports and this great product on the field, but the marketing effort that is there versus the WNBA is so much different. Where the 14 slow-mo cameras that like put together this sweet montage of just a guy jumping. It's like that's the coolest thing I've ever seen, and I think there's a lot of that missing, to your point.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to talk too much on this, I promise. But two quick things is one, it's like for women, for whatever reason, like I'll start over. For men, it's like, okay, they put the money in, and if it doesn't work, they're like, no, we got to make this work. Let's keep going. For women, it's kind of like they try something, didn't work, we're out. Mm-hmm. We never get like the benefit of like, you have to keep investing. Whereas like male sports has benefited from that for a very long time. And it's great. I feel like some people think like we're anti, like a WNBA player hates the NBA. No, do you? I'm happy. I hope we get there someday. I always say, like, I hope I'm the disgruntled old player that's like, oh, when I played, I only made 100,000. Now they're making $1 million. Like, I hope so. Yeah. And I don't remember what the second thing is, so there you go.
Are you ready for some rapid fire questions?
Let's do it.
Sue?
Wait, you have to ask her the big one.
Not yet.
Okay, fine. This is just very easy and cheesy, so bear with us, guys. Relationship questions. Okay. So rapid fire. Mm-hmm. Stay in or go out?
Stay in.
This is Andrew's. Back rub or surprise note?
Ooh, back rub.
Okay. Comedy or thriller?
Oh, comedy.
Home cooked or
Am I answering these for me?
Yes.
Okay. So actually, it would be a note then, not the back
note,
rub.
okay.
Sorry. Megan would be the back rub.
Home cooked or Postmates?
I mean, home cooked, but probably Postmates.
Absolutely. Poem or serenade?
Poem. Megan actually writes a lot of poems.
Really?
Yeah.
So does Andrew. It's really cute.
Oh, that is very cute.
Sorry.
Are you going to serenade us, though? If that
No.
You could? Okay.
Ice cream or wine?
Ooh, wine.
Or both?
Yeah.
Netflix or theater?
Netflix.
Laundry or dishes?
Dishes.
Really?
I hate laundry. Folding it.
Yeah,
oh,
I hate
God.
laundry.
I don't mind doing it. It's the
I hate
folding
both.
it. Okay.
Yeah. Phone call or text?
Text.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
And then I was going to say basketball or soccer, but I kind of already asked you. Both.
Yeah, both.
Okay, big question.
Okay, the greatest relationship advice that you have either received or would give. What's the best?
Man. So I don't know if this is good or not, but it was good for me in the moment. So I'm going to share it, but I don't know if I'll just say it. So I was going through like one of those relationships where like you're in it and then you break up and then you get back and you're like, I was like, but I just love her so much. And I was talking to my mom and my mom was like, sometimes love's not enough. And I was like, oh, damn. Because there was like all these things that just didn't check, if you will. It wasn't like boxes per se. It was just like some stuff just didn't work. But I loved her so much, you know? Sometimes love's not enough. And I was like, so in that moment, like totally broke it open for me. I was probably like in my early 20s.
I like that. I do like that because people do have a checklist and they either check the list but don't love them enough.
Yeah.
Or they love them too much and then they don't have the checklist. I think it's a whole package thing.
That's the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And when you know, you know.
I just want to thank you as the father of a daughter, both of you really, for being such great role models. It's inspiring, and I'm excited for everything that you've done and everything that you will do. I will say you want part of your legacy to be like your impact on the Storm franchise itself, but from everything I know about you, you've left a far broader impact than that, and it's fantastic. So thank you for that.
Thank you, guys.
And then we're going to have Megan on without you.
Yeah.
So then she'll have to like redo this until your shoots.
Totally.
But thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Yeah.
She would love to do this.
Do we have any questions?
Oh,
Yes.
wow. I didn't think about
Sweet.
that.
The WNBA stat site? Baby steps. It's getting better. So to be honest, I'm not like on there all the time. The couple times that I wish it was better, it's more about like historical stuff. So sometimes it's like you might be trying to compare player A to player B, like player A's new, player B's old, or like retired, and you might be like, oh, what did Cheryl Swoops average in whatever? I don't know. And sometimes it's really difficult to find that information, or even maybe Cheryl Swoops in college, like it can be really difficult to find. Like, what? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's helpful. It's because it all. I mean, we've talked about that. It's storytelling, those stats, right? And I think nowadays, as things change, with our free agent, it's really good to compare. It's not where the whole story is, but it's part of it. Yeah. How old are they? 6 and 8. I'm like, what did my parents do at 6 and 8? I don't really know. I mean, sometimes I get this question, quite often. I'm sure you guys do too, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm not a parent, so I can only tell you like what my experience was as a kid and like what my parents did and what I liked and maybe what I didn't like. And I think what I liked from my dad, he was just really honest with me all the time. That's just who he is. And it was nice to have somebody be real with you. So like as you go through competitive sports, if you're any good, people are going to blow smoke. So it's nice to come home and just have somebody be like, yeah, you played okay. I'm like, okay. And for me, that worked. And for my mom, what I got from her was whether I played good, bad, she didn't even talk about it. She just gave me a hug. So I think like a balance of that for me personally really helped. Because honestly, it's a sport. The one thing I do say to kids is like, this is supposed to be fun. Mm-hmm. It's a game. It's called a game for a reason. And if you're good at it, 10, 15 years for your daughters, and they're professionals and they get paid for it, then it can be a business. Then you can worry about that. But in the meantime, make sure you're still having fun. Oh yeah, and then like all the other life skills you learn from it. Like if they don't become professional. That stupid NCAA commercial, oh, become a professional in something else. Have you guys seen that one? I say stupid because they play it all the time, but the reality is like the things you learn in sports are gonna help you in life, like for sure. Mm-hmm. So that's it.
Last one.
Yeah. This is for both.
I think it's really difficult because even though it can be one of the most unifying platforms, it's also very political. Everyone has opinions, and in our sport's subjective. So people can truly judge you and deduct you based on what they think of you. So we have to play a political game. We have to smile and look pretty and hope that, whatever country is judging likes the way you look that day and doesn't listen to an interview you said the day before. So it's a fine balance for our sport in playing the game and then using the game afterwards in the platform to voice your opinions. It's different in gymnastics, which I think is always interesting. Now being a mom to a daughter, just learning so much about what's going on, you're really blinded in gymnastics because it's completely reversed. So the women pull all the tickets, pull all the money, and the men get shafted. And so you're fighting for inequality in gymnastics for the men's equal pay. And then looking outside of gymnastics is a different story in every single sport. So I just think using platforms the right way and being cautious around it, even though it's unfortunate and you shouldn't have to do it, is how we had to go about it.
That's interesting. I think what both Megan and I talk about a lot is how every 4 years people do care. For soccer especially, because the World Cup is just like its own thing. It's like its own beast. But yet their league doesn't do well. And it's just like, what? Like she'll literally have people in Seattle come up to her, in Seattle, where she has now played for the Reign for like 6 or 7 years. And they'll be like, oh my God, Megan, I'm such a huge fan. Can I get an autograph, get a picture? Oh my God, I love watching you play. What are you doing in Seattle? She's like, what? Yeah. Like there's this weird disconnect, So I bring that up to say, like, I think both of us in our sports, when we do have the spotlight, we do try to shine it on the fact that, like, you can watch us play all the time. Like, I don't know, I think there's something happening here, but you can watch us play all the time. And so we try to, like, parlay all of that attention into our leagues because we want our leagues to grow and be successful,
Mm-hmm. Sweet. Thank you.
Thanks guys.